Welcome back, my good friends, to another CertiK Discord AMA. You know what we do every single week. We bring you a different project to learn a bit more about and try to learn what they're doing, what they're building, especially in this market, and obviously try to bring you some interesting topics and stories from those projects as well. Today, our guest is Blade Wallet, and we have Sammy representing Blade Wallet. If you can tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, what you do. And a question I like to ask also is, how did you get into crypto slash Web3 slash whatever you want to call it? How did you get into this space?
Sure. First of all, thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation. Super excited to be here and share our story and what we're doing in Web3. So yeah, my name is Sammy. My background, I have a financial background. I was in the finance for about 20 years. I left in about 2016, entered Web3 around the same time. And 2018, March, I think it was, I joined Hedera. So I was one of the early members of the Hedera team responsible for business development in Asia Pacific. I'm assuming people on this AMA know a little bit about Hedera, but if not, Hedera is an enterprise layer one, the enterprise layer one, I would say, governed by the biggest corporations in the world. I think yesterday is an announcement about Dell Technologies also joining the governing council. But my job was to bring in council members from Asia. So LG Electronics, Shinhan Bank, Denton's, DBS, these really large names. I mean, they're global names, but especially large in Asia. Also, our holdings were some of the enterprises that brought onto Hedera. Why is that that's relevant? Because to be honest, from 2018 to 2021, our job was educating enterprises about what blockchain is, what the value proposition is, why is Hedera different, how they can make money or save cost or the market sooner. And May 2021, I left and started this company, Blade Labs. I can go on and explain what Blade Labs does, but that's essentially my journey up till now.
Awesome, I appreciate it. So, what exactly does Blade Wallet offer to potential users, whether they're developers or whether they're everyday users? What can people expect from it if they don't know?
Yeah. So middle of last year when I left, the reason why I left was council members were calling me and they were like, "Look, we're ready to launch a use case, but we need a wallet." And what that meant was, they needed a very easy and simple way, first of all, to integrate with a wallet. Number two, they needed a user experience for their Web2 users, because these are large corporations with Web2 customers. So they needed a very intuitive user experience and a user interface. And then they wanted, as much as possible, a way to monetize the users. So that's what we set out to do. And Blade Labs is a Web3, I guess you call them sort of Web3 tool builder. So we build tools for Web2 companies to be able to onboard their users onto Hedera. So I'm saying Web3 tools, but we're predominantly focused on Hedera right now because of various factors that we can get into later. I'll give you some examples of the things that we offer today. So we have a normal wallet that you could download on Android, on iOS. We have a web extension. So you can right now download that wallet. And that is like a wallet on Ethereum. It would be like a MetaMask. So we have a MetaMask for essentially Hedera. But what we do behind the scenes is we provide custom solutions to enterprises. So if you go to Play Store and download a game called Slime World, It's just a normal game, play to earn game. And when you start playing the game, you will have an option to click a button that gives you access to FT, staking, gives you access to other Web3 functionalities. And Blade powers that essentially. There's another case that's coming on board where you download an app and you won't even see Blade anywhere, but the user will be able to create an account and bet. It's I guess similar to sports betting more or less. So you'll use smart contracts, you'll use token transfers, and all of the goodness of Hedera, but behind the scenes. That again is a powered by Blade app. So we have SDKs that allow applications to better wallet in their Android app, iOS app, and also through their web app. We have Unity or Unity games will be able to easily integrate with our wallet. We're working on an Unreal Engine router right now, and a game will launch on that wrapper. I'd say in a few months they'll release the demo. So these are the kind of things that the tooling that we provide again to companies with predominantly Web2 users, so that they can use the functionality of Web3, in this case, Hedera.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So, what are some of the main reasons Hedera is so important to Blade Wallet?
I mean, part of the reason is obvious that I was one of the original members, so I have a lot of domain knowledge of Hedera. I'm a big believer of Hedera itself, the way that they built out the network, the way that they have a very, very long 100-year vision, the focus on security of the consensus algorithm, how they are as compliant as possible to global regulations. So the reason that I mentioned is why I joined. Now, part of it, I got build a lot of relationships with a lot of enterprises, and because of Web3, there is no other layer one that is as enterprise focused. Now, any enterprise, I don't necessarily just need large companies. The private companies, there is probably there one with something, but even smaller enterprises or developers, if you are looking for layer one that has the tooling, the SDKs that are very easy to use for even a Web2 developer. Give you an example. Smart contracts is something that don't natively exist on Hedera. Hedera is compatible with EVM, and you can use Solidity smart contracts with Hedera, but if you want to build a use case on Hedera, you don't really need to know Solidity. You don't really need to know, a lot of the other sort of Web3 nuances that that is required from a developer to build on Ethereum, let's say. So the love of Hedera really comes from the fact that it's really geared towards mass adoption by Web2 users. And because we're building a toolkit that allows exactly those users to be onboarded, there actually is no other sort of better layer one to start with. Later on, maybe there would be an opportunity to scale to other layer ones, but for now, there's more than enough users. I think the 28 council members right now probably, touch every single human being. Well, I wouldn't say human being. Most of the people on this planet with their services. We have Google and Boeing and Dell and all these companies. So it's a large enough addressable market to give it a good go.
Thank you for that. So I know you guys are kind of doing a prize giveaway right now, and there's a bit of involvement with LG Art Lab. What is that partnership like? And how did it start? What does it offer to you guys, obviously, and what are you trying to accomplish?
So LG Electronics was one of the first council members that joined Hedera. I personally have been speaking to them since 2018, I believe. So personally, I have a long relationship with the company. They are structured in a way where they have smart teams within LG Electronics that are very innovative, and they come up with different use cases. Put it this way: LG Art Lab is a team within LG Electronics that we're working very closely with, and they are building out NFT marketplace for fine art. So LG Art Lab, you can go to lgartlab.com if you have a US IP address, because at the moment it's geofenced. But you can see a few NFTs already listed there. One by a famous artist based in New York called Barry Ball, another one called Jeremy Fall, and they're going to continue to commission the artists that, and I might not do this justice. I'm going to try to summarize as best as I can, but they're people who can get into, let's say, Christie's, and no problem. Then there's other artists that are sort of just on the cusp, and there's so much talent in the creator economy that is just on the fringe of Christie's. LG Art Lab at the moment is basically addressing that market. They are commissioning some art. They're reaching out to these artists. They're working together with them to create NFTs. And what we are helping LG Art Lab do is, number one, provide their users with very easy onboarding experience. Number two, provide their users with very easy purchase experience of the NFTs. Number three, provide LG Art Lab with functionality that adds utility to the NFT, such as token gating. We basically continue to work with them to figure out how to create essentially an offering that people will buy.
Awesome. So another question: when Blade Labs launched their wallet last year, you guys engaged with CertiK. What was your reasoning behind choosing us from the start?
So to be completely honest, I mean, I had known CertiK from when I was at Hedera. Great branding, I would say. The logo's really cool. I had been on the website to really look at other audit reports. Because we were setting out to be the enterprise wallet for governing council member caliber companies, and because Hedera is security first, Lehman, Dr. Baird, has said to me many times, he's like, well, the entire point of Web3 is security. If there isn't additional security in Web3 versus Web2, then there's really no point. We adhere to that belief and to that thinking. So even before we launched our first wallet, which was in April of 2022, bare minimum functionality. We reached out to Michael. I believe it was Michael. I reached out to Michael, and I was like, look, we want to do an audit. And to be honest, at that time, I personally wasn't even aware of the nuanced difference between, let's say, an audit and a penetration test. Throughout the journey, Michael and the CertiK team were very helpful in even educating us to penetration testing and the things that we really need to be careful when launching a product like a wallet. So to be honest, it's a no-brainer, right? If a company like LG is using our wallet, we need to make sure that our wallet is audited by a reputable firm. And not just that, we always set out to have high marks. We published the audit report a few months ago, and I think we've tried the best we can to make sure most of the points, if not all, have been addressed.
Gotcha. Thank you. So Another question. So what's your current feeling on the market right now, and what are you doing to build within it? Obviously, some users have left the space. Some are starting to come back just a bit more. So what are you doing in this meantime to sort of keep pace?
Yeah, yeah, it's a good question. Actually, it's a question that we get a lot. Uh, from day one, we set out to build a business that wasn't correlated to to crypto prices. Because even when we started, the macro environment wasn't that friendly. The Federal Reserve was starting to raise rates. Valuations were very high, and we didn't want to be beholden to the ups and downs of the market. And that's why we really set out, first of all, to focus on enterprise use cases. Number two, focus on being partner-led. So build very, very strong partnerships with the companies that we are building tools for. And also things like I mentioned, the NFTs. We're not talking about what sometimes I call buy low, sell high NFTs. We're trying to create NFTs that are more utility NFTs. So features like token gating. We've also have features, soulbound tokens can be minted. We are creating a framework called smart NFTs, where it behaves like a loyalty card. So if you do more than 10 transactions on our wallet, you get a silver status. If you do more, then automatically the metadata, the image of the NFT changes. So we think NFTs have so much potential to continue iterating and adding utility onto it. And so that's where we're focused. When the market started going sideways, it really didn't affect our account numbers at all. Actually, the number of inquiries from enterprises has increased. Why? Because companies are looking for new revenue streams. So if you have a community in Web 2, yeah, you want to launch some utility NFTs in Web 3, and you want to provide your community with some new value propositions. Or if you already have a community, you want to increase community engagement through token gating or through these loyalty cards. The Web3 tools that we build allow companies to go to market a lot faster than they would otherwise. There was a company that went to market, I think it was within 10 days, while if they directly tried to integrate with Hedera, it might have taken months. And because they can go to market a lot sooner than if they didn't have our tools, the risk is also limited. Large companies, when they go to market, they want to make sure that they start small, that they don't hurt their reputation. So by and large, I think that the area that we were focused on was if anything the area that is thriving right now.
So it's interesting that you mentioned that go to market is like 10 days. It's just fascinating how everything in this space is moving so quickly.
Mhm.
How do you avoid any issues moving at that speed? Just out of curiosity.
There already are two. I mean, the ecosystem has really come a long way since even when I started, and now 2018 is quite recent. Probably a lot of people on this call were in the industry even before. But you already have tools that, for example, widgets. We have a partner called MoonPay, and MoonPay is a payment gateway. We use them for direct NFT purchase. In other words, if you have a credit card, you can put in your credit card information and buy an NFT directly without having to buy crypto once. And the experience is a very straight-line experience. The integration with them is also, I think we were on a 5-minute call. They have some documentation, and we integrated very easily. So there are already tools that exist that are very, very easy to integrate, specifically around payments, I would say. But when it comes to wallets, wallets are something that is still either you just integrate with a wallet that's off the shelf. There's a MetaMask, there's a Phantom, there's Hashtag Wallet, there's retail wallets that are great wallets, there's off the shelf wallets. There's a lack of enterprise wallets where a certain amount of configuration is possible. On Hedera, if you want to create an account, then somebody has to pay 5 cents to create an account. In Ethereum, public-private key pair is free. On Hedera, it costs, every transaction costs a little bit of money. So here's the question then. A use case, like a gaming use case, would they want to have their users go through the trouble of buying cryptocurrency and paying for account creation and also paying for the other transactions? Or would they rather front that money so that the user experience is much smoother and their users don't need to worry about anything? They can just go in and play the game from day one. The answer, it turns out, is overwhelmingly the latter. In other words, the enterprises we work with want to pay the network costs on behalf of their users, because the friction of having their users go out and buy cryptocurrency is too high. So that's something that we need to put some custom logic in. Now, once that custom logic is put into place, now we have a solution where it's really sort of relatively off the shelf, kind of, it's not really a bespoke suit. It's not really off the shelf. You can kind of choose between 5 or 6 different iterations, right? And that's what makes it easy, right? It's not fully customizable, but at the same time, you have 5 or 6 things that you can change. Who pays for the fees? How much fees do you want to charge? Do you want to charge affiliate fees? And a few other configurations. I don't know if that directly answered your questions, but
no, it's a good answer. You're always interested in hearing how, different projects or different platforms are trying to reduce the barrier of entry or even the fees associated with trying to participate on that platform. I think that as you try to grow or cast a wider net, right, it's about how can I make something so simple or as easy to use for consumers? Because, if you're ever met with, you're trying something new that's like very different from what you're trying to, or from anything you've ever done before, right? And if the barrier of entry is like so high, you just kind of get turned off by it,
Yeah. Absolutely right. And even in our wallet, so we're having a version 1 upgrade soon, and we call it internally Web3 gibberish. So we're removing all Web3 gibberish. We want to make the wallet experience a similar experience to a digital wallet, a fintech wallet, let's say. Even with our dashboard that's coming out, where enterprises can look at the analytics, we're trying to make it into just a B2B SaaS experience where they're used to that. Now, if somebody's playing a game and suddenly there's a pop-up that says, hey, do you want to stake or do you want to use some Web3 functionality? The last thing that the game wants their users to do is then go out and buy some cryptocurrency so that they can get onboarded. We kind of stumbled upon it, to be honest, because in the beginning, when you kind of build out a business, you want partners that will help you define the product. And while we were defining it, we were like, look, don't worry about it, we'll pay all the fees. Because we want to remove the friction of your users. It just turned out that they can product, and now most of our enterprises actually use that functionality, which is on the third party, in this case, paying on the behalf. Mind you, some use cases that actually don't mind their user paying, and they're asking us if they can add fees, and that's something that we're also looking at it. So it's not right? Each enterprise has their own business model, and they want to be able to start customer in the way that they want, and they know their customers best. So we just serve the enterprise as best we can.
Kind of go back to the security portion just a little bit. Outside of working with CertiK, what are some of the other measures that Blade has taken to kind of live up to that enterprise grade approach to security and compliance? Like, have you felt any constraints by having to operate that way?
Yeah. So because I come from a finance background, 20 years of finance, very, very highly regulated, and my last 5 years post Lehman were I was basically a compliance officer. The maybe it's embedded into the compliance and anti-money laundering and KYC and all of that. And Hedera takes it also very seriously. So when I started Blade Labs, it was sort of part of my DNA already. How did that manifest? One thing we already mentioned was, of course, the code audit. The other thing was one of the first hires was our chief legal officer, probably one of the most talented, I would say, lawyers that is around, Rachel. And she protects us as best as she can. We have a great IP lawyer that makes sure because we're involved with NFTs, we need to make sure that the licensing is properly done. We need to make sure that the privacy policy is properly uploaded. The terms and conditions are all updated. We have a legal opinion in the jurisdictions that we operate to make sure that we are compliant with the relevant jurisdictions. We have a few entities that are purpose-built so that we remain compliant. It costs definitely more money to have this structure built out in fees, to pay the lawyers and to pay all these experts to make sure that we're protected. But as you put it in your previous question, we see it as an investment. It's, I guess, in the startup world, you call it a moat, where we continue to invest in being compliant. We continue to invest in having the highest form of security and also being as transparent as possible. So those are the kind of things that we continue to do, even with the audits. I think this was recently we did a second audit because the wallet code continues to evolve. We intend to do periodic penetration tests for the wallet, and be at the caliber where a company like LG Electronics would be comfortable announcing that we are going to be their wallet on the largest consumer electronics show in January. So I think we're living up, but rules that really is because we have entities in different jurisdictions, each just has different regulations, different IP laws, for example, different license laws, and I think that's the most difficult thing to keep track of. Again, Rachel Lesser keeps us honest, and the entire team.
Don't the rules always seem to change anytime you're trying to do anything?
Yeah. One of the things also that is one of the primary roles of a wallet is we're an aggregator of third-party services. For example, MoonPay, we have Banksa, we have other payment integrators, payment rails that we're going to integrate with. So we go out and negotiate with them, sign contracts with them. We have to pass their know your business requirements. And that's part of our offering as well, right? We go to an enterprise and we're like, hey, we already have these integrations available, and we have passed the know your business requirements of our partners. We feel it is a prerequisite to be able to offer these services to the enterprises as well. But again, yeah, as you say, it does cost a lot, and for a startup, it's quite quite an investment, I would say, earlier on. But hopefully it'll pay dividends. Well, it already is with LG and some of the other enterprises using us. But yeah.
Could you share us a bit more about what's going on with Blade's roadmap for this year, and how do you reduce any friction for onboarding your users?
Right now, we're really focused on NFTs and adding utility to NFTs and making it very easy for people to buy NFTs. Soon, we will launch NFT gating functionality. What does NFT gating mean? It means you can use your NFT as a pass. So the wallet would function like a passport. The NFT would be a visa to the community. Right now, there's a campaign going on by this artist called Jeremy Fall. If you buy a Jeremy Fall NFT for $20, subsequently you can go to a website. The website will check that you have a specific NFT, and then if once you're gated, you get access to, in this case, it's HR rewards. In another case, it can be some proprietary information. In another case, it can be just a website that is gated. It's basically you're using your NFT as your login password. So that's something that we're very excited about. Beyond that, we are launching our direct NFT payment solution. I believe it's the first in Hedera, where a customer, a user can use their credit card and buy an NFT directly. It'll be delivered in your wallet. I tried it today. It was about 10 seconds. There isn't an onerous KYC a requirement because it's purchasing a digital item as opposed to a cryptocurrency. So we're excited about that. Once it's launched, we believe it'll be of use to many, many NFT marketplaces and also just Web2 businesses that just want to start selling NFTs. All they need to do is include our button onto their website, and that initiates a user journey where if you have a wallet, it'll connect to your wallet. If you don't have a wallet, it'll go to the relevant store, download the wallet, set it up, and then automatically launch a widget that allows you to buy the NFT. Beyond that, we are launching a console. The Blade console is essentially a place where enterprises will be able to go. They'll have a login and a password. There you'll be able to, so this will be like a B2B SaaS platform. You'll have analytics. You'll be able to see how many accounts you created. You'll be able to see those accounts, how many accounts are empty, how many accounts have cryptocurrency transactions, how many have NFTs. It'll give you some recommendations as to the campaigns that you can potentially run in order to increase the engagement of the community. And yeah, I mean, that website is going to have SDKs and other tooling that again makes it easy for companies to go from ideation to deployment as fast as possible. And that's really our ethos, right? To make it as easy and quickly for people, predominantly Web 2 or Web 2.5 people to launch use cases. So I guess in the past year, we've been building so many individual components that people are using. And now we're putting all of it together in one place where people can come and use it. There's going to be a free tier where you can create 1,000 accounts for free. You can we call it a sandbox, where people can just play around. And if it's a small use case, then you can do everything you want basically free.
1,000 accounts. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking on accounts, like you guys recently celebrated 250,000 unique accounts, on Hedera. But you said that Blade's goal is to onboard the next billion users onto Web3. What's your plan for that? Because that's interesting.
Yeah. So, there seems like a large gap between currently, I think last time I checked, 310,000 accounts. So there's a nuance when we say onboarding the next billion users, which is these users don't necessarily need to be us people. Devices are included in what we mean by users. And actually, we already are in early discussions about potentially adding wallet functionality to consumer electronics. A simple use case would be something along the lines of you have a washing machine, the washing machine has an echo button, you press that echo button, the washing machine calculates how much water and electricity you saved by pressing that button. The carbon credits are automatically deposited in your wallet. So the washing machine is paying you carbon credits, which you can use and maybe even sell on an open market. The same thing can be done with a car. There's another use case that we're working with. Essentially, the car calculates the most eco-friendly route to your destination, and the savings can be calculated. And those savings are reflected in, again, carbon credits that will ultimately be deposited in the wallet. So if you start thinking about, okay, well, these billion users can potentially be devices, things. Then, imagine if we're in refrigerators and washing machines and cars, the journey doesn't look that far off. So that's where the big jump we believe is going to come. We call it a step function. Initially, we probably will, we're planning on getting to 1 million users before the end of the year. And beyond that, starting to integrate into devices, I would say, starting maybe Q4 or Q1 of next year. And then from there on, hopefully, we will see an order of magnitude increase in the number of accounts created on Hedera.
Thinking about a washing machine being able to calculate and then sell those carbon or energy credits back to, I guess, the grid. I'm not entirely sure what we would call it. It does sound rather, I wouldn't call it Skynet-y, because we have a product called Skynet, but it's almost it. Anyway.
Yeah, and I just wanted to clarify that actually these discussions, started last year. So, technologically, it's something that can be done. A lot of it is, of course, making sure that the go-to-market and the risk, and if it could be a canary release, right? If we can actually try it in a small jurisdiction with a small number of devices. So, this is, again, the benefit of Hedera, right? No other layer one can you go on and potentially get access to 1 billion users. Avery Dennison has a use case right now called Atma, and they already are tracking millions, potentially billions of devices through their supply chain using the platform. So, it's something that's actually happening today, right? I mean, think ChatGPT came out and then, people were like, wow, this is amazing. But actually the people in the AI industry are like, well, actually, much more is going on behind the scenes. You don't even know.
So before, we start wrapping up, are there any potential alpha? I mean, you mentioned some that you're allowed to mention, or is there anything that you want potential users, clients to sort of look out for that you're working on? Anything special maybe to leave us with?
Yeah. So we also work on open source code because we believe that we need to increase the pie, increase the Web3 pie, yes, but in our case, increase the Hedera pie. So one thing that we are very excited launching is what we're calling Hedera Wallet Connect. People in the Ethereum ecosystem might know Wallet Connect, right? You go and you want to connect to a dApp. There's the Wallet Connect option. You click on it, and then you have a bunch of wallets that you can choose from. In Hedera right now, for a decentralized application to integrate with a wallet, they need to individually go and integrate with the different wallets because each wallet has a different standard. That was a massive friction for us, right? We needed to go and speak to the I think there's about 150 different dApps on Hedera right now. We spoke to maybe 50 of them, to educate them on the way that they integrate Blade. But then they needed to do the same with another wallet, like Walla Walla Wallet, for example, is another wallet in the ecosystem. Or with Hashpack is another wallet in the ecosystem. So we've created this Hedera Wallet Connect, which adheres to the Wallet Connect standard. But it is, for the time being, would be a Hedera common wallet connector. What's the value proposition of that? If a dApp integrates with Hedera Wallet Connect, they will get access to all of the wallets in the Hedera ecosystem. So one integration, and you're basically done from the dApp side. And we believe that's important, right? dApps are actually building out the use cases and the businesses that are driving the ecosystem. So, we cannot have them distracted by, needing to do the same thing over and over again for each of the different things. So, that's one thing that please do look out. I think over the next week or two, we're going to start reaching out to the different wallets in the Hedera ecosystem, the different dApps in the ecosystem, and present the Wallet Connect. Once that is done, we believe it's going to be way easier for decentralized applications to launch on Hedera. The other thing that we're very excited is the console, right? Once the console is launched in Q1, again, we'll be reaching out to as many partners as possible to offer the sandbox, where I would say the majority of use cases that are trying things out can try things out for free. Integrate with a wallet, mint NFTs, mint smart NFTs, use the payment button, build in the wallet into their iOS app, Android app, even web app, essentially, up to a few thousand accounts for free. So those are the things that and some of the things that we can't mention yet, but I think they would be announced by our enterprise partners over the next month or so. And if I may shout out to a few other use cases that are launching. Karate Combat is a use case. They're a very, very successful sports league, MMA sports league. We're gonna power their app, so they're launching very soon. Astronova is another game, Windows game based on Unreal Engine. That they're doing a whole bunch of campaigns right now, so please look them up. Koala Hash Club is a use case that is building a game called Koala Fight Club. We're partnering up with a company called Mio.tech, and they're an aggregator of luxury brands around the world working on digital twin use case. You go into a luxury, let's say, store, buy a dress, you scan the QR code, and an NFT of that dress is dropped into the wallet. So I guess Adidas calls it phygital, but let's say a digital twin use case. So these are some of the use cases that are coming up, I would say, over the next 2-3 months.
Got it. And any predictions for where we're going in the next few months outside of the wallet, just in terms of the whole space?
Yeah, I mean, besides, look, the macro. I mean, I'm a macro investor as well, so the macro environment looks like it is. So we're in a tightening cycle. In other words, rates are going to go higher over time unless inflation comes down. There's a temporary respite where things seem calmer. The sort of ice age in the crypto market has thawed a bit. Activity is really coming back. Prices are a bit higher. I have to be honest, I am still quite cautious because in my sort of 20 years experience in the markets, this does feel like it's not really over, right? The final shoe hasn't dropped. Now, if you're prepared for the final shoe to potentially drop, then you have nothing to worry about. In other words, like if you're worried, then you don't have anything to worry about. If you're not worried, then I would worry. So that's kind of where we are, right? Like cautiously optimistic, that there won't be further sort of drawdowns. But everybody that is building knows that it is the best time to build when there's not that much noise. That being said, it is quite tough when companies after companies go bankrupt, and overlaid with a very difficult macro environment.
Well, thank you, Sammy, for being on with us. This was a very informative and very interesting conversation. We really appreciate you coming on and showing us a bit more about what Blade Wallet does. So I want to thank you for taking the time to visit our community. We'll make sure to get this pod up and out on our YouTube and our website. So we'll make sure to share that with you. And for everyone out there, obviously, we bring these every single week, these Discord AMAs, so you learn more about projects. So please go ahead and make sure you follow Blade Wallet, CertiK Community, and CertiK Alert. We always want to make sure that we have the most informative and interesting conversations that we possibly could have. So we really appreciate you listening. And Sammy, thank you for coming. It was great chatting with you.
No, absolutely, and shout out to CertiK. Michael especially. I've been speaking to him from day one. There are many audit companies out there. We are proud to introduce CertiK to our use cases. When we provide our SDKs to our partners, we also require them to perform an audit. We want to create a very safe ecosystem. And if I were to kind of place one thing that I really appreciate about CertiK is really working with us to educate us about the security aspect, and also being flexible about that. It's really a fine balance between user experience and security. That being said, one thing that I think it was Michael or somebody in the CertiK team said, that security should never be compromised over UI or user experience. And we agree with that. We think we should continue to focus as much as possible on proving and continuously providing information to the ecosystem about our audits and audit reports.
Thank you very much for the kind words. Plug CertiK. Please make sure your favorite let your favorite project know.
And I haven't gotten paid, by the way, by you guys. But it's a genuine plug. So
we definitely appreciate the kind words, and we try to serve our goal is to secure the Web3 world, and want to make sure that people who join Web3, whether it's via crypto, whether it's via, anything like NFTs, whatever it is, we always want to make sure that people do their due diligence, which is why we offer a lot of services for everyday users. So please visit CertiK.com if you want to research projects. If you want to look up Blade Wallet, we have it on the website as well. So, that's one of the things that we always want to make sure that, we can give users and educate them with as much information as possible, so that when they're out there, whether it's wheeling and dealing, trading, or interested in specific NFTs or projects, that they're as armed as possible. Obviously, none of this is financial advice, but always do your own research and use CertiK.com for that research. So let's close out here. Thank you very much. Really appreciate the time.